third warmest December in the history of Decembers.
Yeah. Well, Fred, the reason why you haven't gotten the present I sent you is because I bought it, but I still haven't sent it yet. However many days after Christmas it is. And I'm wondering if I just wait a little longer, maybe I should just hang on to it and send it to you next year. I don't know what the I don't know what the rules of engagement are for that.
Well, you don't want to be embarrassed. So if it comes, I would say at 1 day late is too many days late. So yeah, you have to wait. You have to wait till next year.
Oh, okay. Well, Fred, if you get a box for me, then do not open it until next year.
I saw trending earlier this week was online gift certificates. That's
really
basically the laziest gift you can get anyone ever. That's terrible.
So you're an anti-gift certificate guy.
Oh no, do not. If giving me a gift card or a certif or that lacks effort. If you were willing to buy me a gift, I would hope that you know me well enough to get me a gift that I would hopefully be invested in.
Well, see, Fred, I'm already the man who has everything. I am very pro gift card, and actually, I've got people in my life who get upset with me because every year they ask me what I want for Christmas, and all I want to do is replenish the lost funds that I lost during the month of December. So when somebody gives me a gift card, Fred, what they're saying to me is, "Hey, man, I know you're broke. Here's how I'm going to remedy that situation." To me, that's thoughtful.
And I appreciate that, but I've been broke a long time, and I don't have any plans of changing that. So if I could, I'll be broke with my brand new Apple Watch.
Are you telling me, Fred, that you don't like getting a gift card and then rolling into Denny's like you're making it rain as if you're Pac-Man Jones?
I haven't been to Denny's since high school, so no, that doesn't matter to me.
Or your favorite local Greasy Spoon?
Well, and I enjoy Greasy Spoon as much as the next guy. You want to go to the Eat Right? I'll go to the Eat Right. But I'm not going to go to the Eat Right with a coupe, okay? I'm going to go there on my own merit, and I'm going to take it in for what it's worth. I'm not going to take it in on your dime.
So, Fred, would you mind, since you're anti-gift card, would you mind sending me all the gift cards that you don't want? Because I'll use them. I'll be more than happy to use them.
I literally just typed in trending now. Ready? Here's what's trending now, and we're so many days after Christmas. Online gift certificates, GameStop gift cards, wine gift basket. That actually works for me. That makes sense. But yeah, Mike, no, we are not so disconnected now due to social media and political propaganda that we can't just connect with each other in a way to where I know you or you do not want a loofah.
I don't know. I feel like there should be some kind of maybe we could put it on our Facebook profile or something, or maybe we can register with a website that lets people know if you're for or against gift cards, because people who are for gift cards love getting gift cards. But I feel like if you give a gift card to a gift card snob such as yourself, Fred, you'll take it very personally, and it could end a relationship/friendship.
Here's what I got my dad. Okay, so it was Christmas. Before Christmas, my dad was saying, "Hey, I'm super proud of you, son. I love your radio show. I think your co-host, Mike Parsons, is the funniest guy in the world."
Does he want an autographed picture? I can send him one if that's what he wants for Christmas.
Here we go. That's what I'm talking about, Mike. Listen and then give. That's all it takes. So he lives a bit out of the. He lives at the top of the bluffs out there by the river, and you know how AM signals are. They're sketchy at best sometimes. So he was. I want to be able to hear you more clearly, son. So I got him a very nice powered AM FM antenna to put on, and you know what? That's a thoughtful gift. Okay, he appreciated it. He processed it. He loved it. I didn't give him a gift card to Best Buy where he can go get it because that's bogus.
Well, Fred, the gift to your father is also a gift to us because you gave us the gift of a brand new P1.
But actually, he was already listening. Just he said he had to turn the volume up real loud and it sounded bad. So.
I got you. What's your dad's name?
Randall
Slow. Happy holidays.
Wait, are you personalizing it now? Did you sign an autograph now?
No. Dear Randall, follow your dreams.
Like in a movie,
like Mike. What's that?
In a movie when you're writing out the letter and you're like,
got the overhead voice.
It's like the best and worst Felicity episode.
Yeah, or Punky Brewster. But Fred, This week there was another holiday that all the white people were celebrating. I guess it originates from some TV show that was popular in the 90s, something called Festivus.
Yeah, I'm aware, but I'm not practicing.
Well, I believe, and like I said, Seinfeld likes Star Wars, which, we'll talk about that later on in the show. Seinfeld likes Star Wars is one of these shows that I never watched, but I know all the references because people use them over and over and over. So I understand there's an airing of grievances on Festivus, and my grievance is with one Odell Beckham Jr. Everyone knows by now, last week, him and Josh Norman of the Carolina Panthers were mixing it up. Odell Beckham lost his cool. He took multiple shots at Norman, culminating with a spear, helmet to helmet. It was blatant, and the NFL suspended him for a week. Now, this week happens to be the first week I'm ever in a fantasy football championship game, and he's on my damn team.
I love that this is a problem for you because I also am, and I'm not in the championship. I'm in the semifinal. Our finals next week. But I'm playing the guy who does have Odell Beckham Jr., and he made he's unwilling to drop him for another player because he'll be back next week. So if he beats me and makes it to the championship,
right,
he needs him. But if he doesn't beat me, then he's Beckham himself.
Yeah, well, see, that kind of stinks. I think in my fantasy football league, and by the way, there's nothing more fascinating than hearing two guys talk about their fantasy football team. But, if I'm a commissioner of a fantasy football league, I might make the championship on week 15 because week 16 and week 17 is when everyone's resting their starters. So I don't feel you're getting a true championship game.
Well, and I feel like I'm the only one who realizes that, and that's how I've made it to this championship game 4 years in a row. Because I no longer have the best player. I have the player that's playing the most.
Right. And so now I have to rely on Marquise Colston to step up.
Classic 2006 problem.
Yeah. So who knows? It is the season of miracles. But you know who else I have a grievance with, Fred?
I'm ready.
I don't know. The only thing worse than despair is false hope. And on Wednesday, Ron Jaworski tweeted out that Odell Beckham's suspension was overturned. And although, Fred, morally and logically, I knew that Odell Beckham, what he did, a suspension was warranted, I was celebrating because I got my stud back. Only for Jaworski to tweet out a few minutes later, my bad, guys, my bad.
He must not have been in the office that day. Because everyone else was reporting upheld and you're done, and Odell Beckham Jr. had already tweeted, "Hey, I'm sorry, my bad. It's actually really impressive that you watched me get in a 1 hour long fight last Sunday because that's the longest fight in the history of mankind." And that was kind of not the best sportsmanship in the world, right? These guys went at each other intensely, and
they wanted to hurt each other.
Oh my gosh! And I don't hate anyone that much. And Josh Norman's a stud. Josh Norman's been a stud. He's been in the league about 4 years. He's been a stud for the last 2, easy. And he really propelled himself to the kind of the upper echelon with this encounter with Odell Beckham Jr. He put him kind of like Cortland Finnegan did a couple of years ago when he faced off against Andre Johnson down there in Houston. He's now made himself a lot of money by just taking a ass whooping.
Yeah, and a lot of people said that Norman got into Beckham's head, and he did in the sense that he made him lose his cool and miss a game and hurt his team. But Beckham still hung close to 80 points and scored a clutch touchdown late. So I wouldn't say he got in his head, but he got under his skin. And
he dropped one early, which was unsettling. That's. But yeah, it's not as if Carolina had shut down the Giants' offense. They scored, what did you say, 35 points?
Something like, I don't have the score in front of me, but it was close because towards the end, Carolina had to win it late on a field goal. So, like I said, Odell Beckham still had the presence of mind to make a key catch late in the game. And of course, everyone plays the coulda, shoulda, woulda game. Yes, Oda, individual responsibility is paramount, but a lot of people are pointing at the refs saying, why didn't they take control of that situation? A lot of people are pointing at Tom Coughlin saying, why didn't he take control of that situation? Eli and the rest of the Giants, which I think they have a point. I think that if Odell Beckham is not a wide receiver, say he's a cornerback or a safety, and he's on a team like the Seahawks that have veteran leadership like a Richard Sherman, that doesn't happen. Now, Richard Sherman, he got a bad rap after that NFC title game where him and Crabtree were going at it in San Francisco. And, he got on the mic after the heat of battle and dropped some trash talk. But ever since then, every time I've seen Richard Sherman play, he is the epitome of a veteran leader and teammate. Last season, they were playing the 49ers again, and things were getting heated. And on one play, you see Richard Sherman jaw-jacking with someone on the 49ers. The next play, a young guy's about to get into a scrum. Richard Sherman comes out of nowhere, and he shoves the young kid on the Seahawks. I don't remember who it was. And then 2 plays later, you see him with his arm around the kid on the sideline. And I said, you know what? If there was a Richard Sherman on the Giants offense, he could have calmed down Odell Beckham, or he could have checked Odell Beckham and then went back later and said, hey man, this is the reason I checked you. Now let's keep our cool and go win this football game.
I think there's something to be said about like Richard Sherman's approach to the game, right? Because you're referencing the intellectual part of the game, the part where you do that trash talk, and we talked about it last week in the NBA. Richard Sherman's a guy who not relatively, actually changed like Michael Crabtree's career, right? So allegedly Michael Crabtree gave him the cold shoulder at like a holiday party, and then it was a Twitter thing, and then Michael Crabtree, and he had a pretty good year with the Raiders, but just wasn't really producing with the 49ers anymore. And some might argue that's because Richard Sherman kind of put him in a place as far as like ego-wise.
Right.
With that said, Josh Norman's not that player. Josh Norman's not a guy who's going to go out there and tell you he's better than you, and then after he tells you that, show you. Because he didn't show that against the New York Giants last week. He brought a tactic to the game to offset one player. And I would argue Odell Beckham Jr. is the best player on the Giants. But because he was out of the game, they were still able to succeed otherwise. And that's the difference, I think, where the Seahawks are. The Seahawks on defense are able to take out that key player, and then that disrupts an offense so entirely that you can't operate against them. And I don't think the Carolina Panthers are there. They still had to rely on, in my opinion, league MVP at quarterback Cam Newton to come in and, I don't know, be victorious, do hero things like he always does.
Well, it's funny, too. Speaking of Cam Newton, after the game, they asked him on the field, I forgot who the reporter was, but it must have been Fox, right? Because it's an NFC game. And they asked him about the Odell Beckham, Josh Norman dust-up. And with a crap-eating grin on his face, Cam Newton saying, Odell's a great guy. He's a great guy. And I just get the feeling that a lot of what Cam Newton is doing is he's just screwing with us right now. Whether it's trash talking someone, killing them with kindness, wearing a tail up to the podium, wearing sparkly silver shoes. I think that Cam Newton is in a place where he said, look, I'm having an MVP season. I'm dominating. I can do whatever the hell I want. And because the way I'm playing, nobody can say anything. And it's entertaining as hell to watch.
So I want to make sure I got this right. You think that Cam Newton is an Andy Kaufman type athlete that is just at a different level than everyone else involved? Because if that's what you're saying, Mike, then I'm buying in. Because I love me some Andy Kaufman.
I wouldn't say he's as immersive as Andy Kaufman, but I think when Cam Newton first came into the league, he was quoted as saying that he wants to be the biggest star on and off the field in the league. And he's becoming that. And he's becoming that because he's kicking ass on the field. I don't think there's any dispute over who should be MVP, because you know what the debate is always, is MVP most valuable player to his team or the best player in the league? Well, he's both. He's both this season. And he knows that he's playing at such a high level that he feels that he can kind of he can kind of poke people in the eye or sort of raise some eyebrows off the field, and people won't say anything about it because he's playing so damn good.
Here is kind of an interesting question. We were talking last week about Rajon Rondo and his interaction with NBA referee Bill Kennedy, who came out as a gay man last week. Allegedly, Odell Beckham Jr. hears those same taunts regularly in the NFL.
Yeah, Michael Irvin said that earlier in the week.
Allegedly, he is perhaps allegedly a homosexual man, or he's at least accused of being that. Which I don't accusationally, that's not the biggest insult to me. You can call me that.
No.
But
actually, I would love for there to be a gay rumor about me. I think it'd be great for the podcast.
If we had that, we would have a listener base that we don't have now, which is like invested.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But allegedly he has to deal with these same kind of things, and no one's mic'd up in this situation. It's not that Sherman versus Crabtree thing. Find that if you haven't listened to that. The mic'd up between Sherman and Crabtree from the NFC Championship game in 2013 is outstanding. But that wasn't this last weekend, and I would wonder if maybe Josh Norman was saying something or doing something that just put old Odell Beckham Jr. just over the top.
Yeah, and much like we were saying about Rajon Rondo last week, if Norman knew about this, then I wouldn't necessarily say it was homophobic. I think maybe what it would be more of him knowing what words would cut the most and using them, because I would imagine if wide receivers and cornerbacks were mic'd up, you would hear some terrible stuff. Because that's what they do. That's part of the game, like we were talking about with the NBA last week.
No, I agree completely. I want to know more, but at the same way, just like we're going to talk about the Star Wars film later, I don't need everyone else's opinion. I have my own. Right. So yeah, I enjoyed watching it for the hour that it went down. I didn't have really any problem whatsoever until kind of the headshot at the end there with Odell Beckham Jr. coming in on Norman.
Right, and I think that's the one that's getting everyone in hot water, from Odell himself to the officiating crew.
And we haven't, but I thought we might talk about.
We all know Subway is here.
Subway sounds good, by the way. I can go for some of that. Sorry, what were you saying?
I don't. That's either me or you, and I don't know which.
That's definitely you. How many tabs you got open there, Fred?
I have them all open, and let me tell you what just happened.
Okay.
So I had pulled up an article on Steph Curry for the next segment.
I know. Don't you? You know what? There's too many damn autoplay videos.
I don't understand. I'm a good person. I don't deserve this.
Fred.
Hey, when we get back, less technical issues on the way in. 590 KFNS. Ugh.
Hey man, that happens. Live radio, man. I'm not even editing that out.
How did that happen just now? This tab was open for the whole time we've been talking.
Yeah. I think what happens is after a while it resets.
Oh, does it?
I don't know. That's just my theory. That's okay. We'll have a laugh.
I'm a little embarrassed right now. Is there a way to mute web browsers?
You could probably mute the videos themselves, but I think if you mute your whole computer, you won't be able to hear me.
All right, well, I'm going to own that when we get back, so feel free just to rip into me.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, it really is no big deal. I mean, it really isn't. I've screwed up much worse. We went like 19 minutes with that.
Yeah,
no, that's okay. It was a good discussion. That's why we got into it for so long. I mean, look, if we go 19 minutes again here, we'll just do a third segment at like 10 minutes or, whatever.
I'll bring it back.
Okay. Here we... Let me take a drink. Do I sound super hoarse?
No, you're good. It's my nasally that offsets anything you do anyways.
Yeah. I got this weird thing that's like half a cold. It's not a full-blown cold, and it comes and goes.
Can I tell you I'm thinking about getting into tabletop gaming?
What's that?
I'm thinking about getting into tabletop gaming.
Like in this segment or like in life?
No, like in life.
Well, like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff?
No, because that doesn't seem like my jam. But yeah. I kind of like tactical stuff. Like I've seen things where there's like big war things.
Risk.
I play the fuck out of Risk. Don't think I don't, because I play Risk all the time.
You know, I would play Dungeons and Dragons if I could find people who were just starting like me. I don't want to walk into like Tim's Dungeons and Dragons gaming night because I'll get housed.
No, if you go to Tim's, you're screwed.
Yeah, if I can get like, I don't know how many people play Dungeons and Dragons at a time. Is like 4 people, 12 people?
Maybe, I think.
If I can find like 5 people who have never played it but want to play it, then I'd probably get into it.
No, see, I'm thinking about doing like I want to do like me versus you, but like massive military army versus like massive military army.
Yeah, so like Risk in the Games of the Ilk.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a better, more popular game than Risk, but that's all that that's all I know. Okay, so let's see. 6 minute. All right. So let's see. 3 seconds. All right. We'll shoot to do 11 minutes on this, but if we go over, no big deal.
Cool.
All right. Here we go.
Now, back to the weigh-in.
Got him!
WeighInRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Weigh-In, 590 KFNS, WeighInRadio.com. I, of course, am Fred Slow, alongside me, Mike Parsons. Mike, I am no longer going to screw up our broadcast.
What? Fred.
That's my New Year's resolution. I'm done.
Fred. It's radio. It happens. You know, you and I, Fred, you and I are a 2-man band. We are doing everything. All right. If a tab opens up and it starts playing out of nowhere and there's some disembodied audio, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
What the truth behind this situation was, I was bringing back my next question, and here it is for you, Mike. You have to choose to be stranded on an island with for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Soleil Moon Frye.
Okay. Before or after the breast reduction?
Today. Today.
Okay.
Soleil Moon Frye of today, who, of course, was childhood's Punky Brewster.
Right. But then she grew up and got kind of hot.
Yeah, she got kind of hot.
Yeah.
Or Danica McKellar, Kevin Arnold's on-again, off-again girlfriend from the Wonder Years, Winnie Cooper.
Well, number one, I would like to see a recent picture from both of their Instagrams.
Okay.
I guess I would pick Soleil Moon Frye just because, you know, I don't want to hold her character against her, but Winnie Cooper to me was such a B word on the Wonder Years. Every episode, Fred, had a scene where Kevin Arnold put his foot in his mouth, and Winnie would say, "Kevin, you're such a jerk." And the guy would say, "Winnie, wait." And it says, "Life is funny like that." Every episode drove me nuts. She was awful.
Well, and that wasn't just her character, Mike. Real life, Danica McKellar, she's like a math Pulitzer Prize winner or something. She has like many books written in how great she is at numbers.
Yeah, she got an advanced math degree from one of the Ivy League schools, so she's genuinely smart. Which probably I would have a hard time having a conversation with her because I'm an ideas guy, Fred. I'm not great with numbers.
No, here are my New Year's resolutions. 1, no longer screw up the show.
Okay.
2, I'm going to start complimenting people on how much I appreciate them.
That's nice. I feel like you kind of do that already.
Well, only if I appreciate them.
Yeah, right. So now you're going to start BSing people. 2, start BSing people and making up reasons why I respect them.
3, I'm going to get more Periscope followers than Danica McKellar. Those are my 3 resolutions right there.
How many does she have?
I don't know, but I'm going to best it.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck on that. But Fred, I would definitely now see periscoping. I think would be tough, obviously, because unless you're a celebrity, you got to get people to care about what you're periscoping. So whatever you do not bring it into the bathroom with you.
Okay, because you don't want to get it. I get what you're saying, but what I'm you want to change people's minds. You want to change people's minds on a subject. You want to change people's minds on a cultural or social issue. Let's talk gun violence, Mike. Let's talk about really getting people to go over the edge and creating a campaign, right, with NBA stars. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So what has happened is Steph Curry and CP3 and Melo and Joakim Noah and all these guys, they're calling for an end to gun violence. Are you ready for this? Have you heard this at all, Mike?
No, you know, I saw it, but then I didn't click on it because I've got my mind made up about guns and gun control and gun access. And I like to keep my politics and entertainment separately, but I was curious. So let's hear it for those like me who didn't click on the link.
I heard about a shooting involving a 3-year-old girl over the summer. My daughter Riley is that age.
And I would screw it up on the first attempt, so here we go.
There goes that New Year's resolution.
Classic me.
I heard about a shooting involving a 3-year-old girl over the summer. My daughter Riley is that age.
There was a point when I felt that I was going to die.
My parents used to always say a bullet doesn't have a name on it.
Someone put a bullet in the back of my 14-year-old son's head.
The gun should never be an option.
We're Americans. We don't have to live like this. We can all make a difference.
In the United States, 88 people die of gun violence every day.
We can end gun violence.
Everytown.weekendingunviolence.com. Mike, I saw this the other day for the first time, and I thought, well, I think it's good in gun violence, right? As far as gun ownership and gun laws, those are not necessarily related, but gun violence, I think, is an absolute problem. I would say it's an epidemic without any sort of question. When the NBA is shining brightest, and we talked about this last week with everything that was happening with Bill Kennedy, during Christmas is when the NBA really the season starts, right? That's when people tune in. That's when people are involved. And this campaign, which is a partnership between the NBA and I had it just here right in front of me.
Some organization against gun violence.
Yeah. So anyways, and I'll have that. I'm sorry, that's ignorant of me. But what it is, it's they're taking that big platform and they're going to take a stand against a real issue, especially in the community that follows the NBA. And we talked about it with Silver last week. This is what they needed to do. They needed to jump out in front and grab a social issue by the horns and drive it down everyone's throat. And that's what they're doing. And I love it, Mike. I just think it's brilliant.
Yeah. And, obviously that video is a bit vague. I was waiting to hear specifically what they wanted to do about gun violence, but I guess that wasn't the purpose of the video. The purpose of the video is probably just to drive traffic to the website of that organization. I mean, obviously, look, I think everyone can agree, pardon me, that gun violence is bad and we should cut down on it. But then people start arguing as to how you cut down on it. Should there be less people legally carrying guns? Should there be more people legally carrying guns? And like I said, I'm glad that video, at least they didn't. It's weird to say they didn't get political because it's a political issue, but they managed to stay relatively apolitical, just saying, "Hey, gun violence is bad, and I'm against it, and I want a better world for my child." Well, that's fine. But exactly what are they proposing? And I guess I'd have to go to that website to see it.
It's everytown.org, and what they are proposing is it's analysis of mass shootings. It's how the White House has action on gun violence and things that communities can do to prevent violence. And violence, in my opinion, especially gun violence, is not always extrinsic. It's last year there was roughly, 13,000 gun-related deaths in the United States, right? Well, over half of those are suicides. So it's not right. That people are always out to do something at someone else. It's that there needs to be an option for people who, and we talk about mental illness when it comes to these kind of tragedies, there has to be an option to help these people. And it looks like everytown.org is going to give you an opportunity to give some money or give whatever you're willing to organizations to, just give a hand.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll at least check out everytown.org. I don't know what they stand for, but I can say that a conversation needs to be had, and a conversation needs to be had where both sides, both the anti-gun control and the pro-gun control side actually listen to each other, because that's the challenge.
Well, in my brief breakdown of everytown.org, that's exactly what it is, right? So it's gun rights advocates, it's gun owners, it's anti-gun, it's survivors, it's the mayor, it's the mailman, right? It's everyone in your community having that conversation about I don't know how to help each other, which in my opinion is the healthiest conversation you can have.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because and the problem is everyone is so wrapped up in their own ideology, no matter what side of the spectrum they fall on, that any opposing viewpoint to them is threatening. Fred, I'll just come out and say it, and I hope I don't turn off a lot of people, but for the most part, I'm pro Second Amendment. But just because I'm pro Second Amendment doesn't mean that there are things that I don't think that there are things that we can look at and improve. And I think a lot of times people who fall on my side of the argument, being pro Second Amendment, they don't want to hear about any possible changes or improvements in screenings or anything, because they feel like it's a slippery slope. Once you relent this one thing, then you're going to relent another thing. And then before you know it, guns are going to be banned. And I think, at least from my point of view, on my quote unquote side, and I don't even want to say I'm on that side, because, there's people who agree with me on the Second Amendment that I just think are way out there. But yeah, so that's the problem. Everyone's afraid of, I think they see politics as a team sport. And if you compromise, or if you defer to the other side and say, hey, that's a good point, it's like letting in a goal against your own goalie.
I own a gun, Mike. I have, in the state of Illinois, you have to have a FOID card, which is an ID card that says that you can or cannot own a gun. I grew up in a gun culture. We always had them, and I'm very comfortable around them. And because of that, I think I'm accepting of them. With that said, I absolutely am in favor of thorough background checks. I'm actually absolutely opposed to domestic violence. Preventable deaths are a huge deal to me. I think the accidental deaths due to guns absolutely happen. Gun trafficking, you want to talk about crimes and criminals? Yeah, all that stuff has to be handled. But I believe that everyone who is qualified to own a gun, if they choose to, can own a gun. But that doesn't mean that people who are not qualified to own guns, they absolutely still have guns. And those people with ill intentions, I do not believe need to have guns. And having the conversation about it is what I think helps it. I don't have all the money in the world. I can't fund this entire thing. But what I can do is I can use this platform to kind of give my opinion on it. And that opinion is help people who suffer any way possible from whatever ails them.
Right. And also, when you're having a conversation about something this controversial, what you also need to do, which I think people fail at, is not villainize someone who disagrees with you. Because, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, Fred, where if I say, hey, you gun-loving redneck, you're part of the problem. Or, hey, you socialist hippie who wants to get rid of guns, you're part of the problem. Now, no one's going to listen to each other. But if you say, hey, look, I think guns in the hands of responsible citizens are beneficial because A, B, and C, and then the other person says, well, I think we should put tighter controls on guns because A, B, and C. Okay, have a conversation, and then find somewhere where you guys can overlap on opinion and work from there.
This campaign only works, in my opinion, if you have the right superstars at the head of it, and there's no bigger superstar in the NBA right now than Steph Curry, and Steph Curry is the lead voice on this campaign. The Golden State Warriors playing Oakland. Oakland is, I lived there, Mike, for what it is riddled with violence. It is riddled with gun violence. It is, and unfortunately, it is accepted by the culture in Oakland for that to be acceptable, right? It is accepted there that having a gun and being a victim, if not directly through osmosis through your family or your loved ones, being a victim to gun violence is the standard. And I think it really speaks to Steph Curry to be able to step up and say, no, this is what you think is normal is not normal. And here's a campaign on what you can do to correct it. I love the whole idea behind it. I don't know, maybe secretly the NRA is really against it. I don't know. But this is good in my opinion, and he's the guy to lead it.
Well, and it'll be interesting too to see if there's going to be any political backlash or any backlash public relations wise against any of these players. I haven't heard any yet, But like I said, there's probably a lot of people out there who haven't gone to this website itself and checked it out. Because like I said, I'm reserving whether or not I'm for or against this PSA until I go check out the webpage. But like I said, it's starting the conversation.
Everytown for Gun Safety, which is the nation's largest nonprofit gun control advocacy group, they paid for this Everytown thing, right? So there's a group behind it that absolutely can get a message across, and the president tweeted about it, which makes sense because he's kind of a pro gun control guy.
Right.
But the campaign itself is so down the middle that you cannot become outraged by it if you're on one side or the other. No one's telling you to give up your guns, and no one's telling you to kill anyone who tries to take your guns. And I think those are the two most common conversations that people have. So they're the only conversations people are prepared for. And whenever you bring a logical approach with, with a teaser or a trailer like the NBA put out, and then actual factual evidence behind it on everytown.org, then you're going to have, which is the most dangerous thing in the whole world, conversation.
Right. And yeah, like I said, we need more political groups that are more down the middle. But we also have to take a break, Fred. So we will be right back. It's the weigh-in on 590 KFNS, TalkSTL.com, and WeighInRadio.com. Did you bump something? I'm hearing myself feedback. There we go. It's gone now.
I did not. I don't know.
Huh. That's weird. It happened briefly last week too. Hold on. Let me make sure I got everything turned the right way. Okay. It should be gone now. All right, so that went 15 minutes. So we went 16, 15. Did we go? Yeah, we went 16. We went 15. So we're at 31 right now.
No, we're going to have to be careful on that clip because I don't know if I sent it right. And never mind. I'll just get creative. I'll put it back in there.
What clip?
The one we just played. Because I don't know if it's going to come across to my end.
Oh, yeah, probably should have. But if not,
no, I'm thinking out loud. I almost need like a double audio. I need one just for you, but I can't create a Phantom driver because this is a PC and not a Mac. So I don't know, man. We'll see.
All right. Well, I'll look for it and see how it sounds. If not, I'll just I'll just grab it and I'll edit it, insert it in myself.
This website is kind of neat. I'm not trying to sell you on anything, but it's just got like it's just got facts is what it's. So you hear a lot of like stuff that aren't facts, and this has, I don't know, this has them. So
what does it have, like fact and myth or whatever on there?
I didn't see myth, but that doesn't mean it doesn't.
Okay. This segment I actually want to keep talking about the Warriors and what Charles Barkley said, and then this. Let's see. I think we'll do 10 and 10 here because we did 16, 15, 31, and then if we do 10 and 10, it'll be 51, and then adding in the spots and everything. Okay. So I'll bring this one in here. And if we go more than 10 with this, we'll just go real short next segment.
That's fine.
All right, here we go. 3, 2.
Now, back to the weigh-in.
Thank you so much for saying what needed to be said.
WeighInRadio.com.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Oh, hold on. Let me get the one with the bed. All right, here we go. 3, 2. There it is.
Now, back to the weigh-in.
Thank you so much for saying what needed to be said.
WeighInRadio.com.
It's still real to me, damn it.
All right, well, staying with the NBA and staying with the Golden State Warriors. I don't know if you know this about me, Fred, but when I was a kid, my favorite basketball player was the round mound of rebound himself, Sir Charles Barkley.
Yeah, he was the tallest 6'4" guy in the whole league.
Yeah, everything I read back then, or maybe I had a basketball card that said he was 6'6". But that's not uncommon for basketball players to lie about their height. But normally, don't they lie to make themselves taller, not shorter?
Yeah, that was growing up. I played basketball, and I'm about 6'5", 6'6", but I was always listed like 6'7". I was just gigantic, you know. But now, according to a quick Wikipedia search, Charles Barkley is 6'5".
Okay, well, there we go. We met in the middle, much like that last segment in politics. Charles Barkley. Now, Charles Barkley, he's not the most intelligible broadcaster out there, but he's but he's a character. So, him and Shaq, they get on the NBA coverage on TNT, and they have a great time, and no one cares because it's Charles Barkley and Shaq goofing on each other.
Hey, Charles Barkley has some of the best quotes of all time, right? Where he's like, the only difference between a good shot and a bad shot is if it goes in or not. Yeah,
that's almost like a Yogi Berra-ism almost.
He said, "I don't care what people think. People are stupid." Charles,
everybody has a Charles Barkley impression. Everybody has a Charles Barkley impression. It's kind of like a Hank Hill, a little more loose in the jaw.
My Charles Barkley impression is on the golf course.
Yeah, me too. All you got to do is hit the dirt farther than the ball, right?
He's a sight. And then remember he got fat for a while, and then again, he's a guy who keeps it in the news. I'm pro Charles Barkley.
He's like the Oprah of retired NBA players. He's fat, he's thin, he's fat again. As you get older, that can't be good for your health.
I don't know if he does like TV or movies outside of like the NBA stuff, but if he's in movies, I would watch them. I would check those out.
I think I would too. But he went on of course, the SB Nation story says an interview Thursday with ESPN Radio, which they don't name the show. That always drives me nuts when they don't name.
They do them all. He was probably making the rounds.
Probably.
Yeah.
But whoever was hosting the show asked him to compare this year's Golden State Warriors to the 1995-96 Bulls, who won 72 games and the NBA championship. And, of course, Charles Barkley said, that Bulls team would kill this little team. Come on, man. Who's going to guard Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan? What about Dennis Rodman? And I think we all do this. And there's no more surefire way to sound like an old guy than to trash something that's popular and successful now, and talk about how something from your era was that much better. I mean, think about it, Fred. You and I, we're in our 30s. Think about the music we listened to back in high school and how amazing it was to us. And now, listen to the garbage the kids are listening to now. That's what Charles Barkley sounds like he's doing here.
Are you trying to tell me right now that nostalgia is bad for me, Mike?
I'm not saying it's bad for you, but it clouds your judgment.
No, I'm saying it's the absolute worst thing in the whole world, and I've been on this kick for a while now. Carpe diem, man. Seize the day.
I think you're right. I think a lot of people expel a lot of unneeded misery by missing the past. Okay, I can get with you on that.
Have you ever actually gone back and watched any of the episodes from any TGIF show? They're not good.
No, they don't. Saved by the Bell does not hold up.
No, it's just terrible, man. And I'll be the first one to argue. I'll say, yeah, I do think Dookie was better than American Idiot. I'll say that. I'll say that to the listener out there.
Well, that's just facts.
You're right. That can't be argued. But there is absolutely a group of kids who are, 10 years younger than me that think American Idiot is the best Green Day album of all time, and I'll fight them. I'll fight every single one of them with my fist. It doesn't make Dookie better than Green Day or better than American Idiot. It just doesn't.
You kids don't know what real music is. Back when I was your age, there was a group of adults 10 years older than me telling me my music sucked. It's just the circle. It's just the circle, and that's what Sir Charles is doing here.
If you'd have asked my cousin in her late 30s who the best actress of all time is, she will say with conviction, Elizabeth Shue is the greatest actress of her generation. And I know that's not true. I know.
Right, it's the kids from Twilight.
Oh,
easy. Easy.
So Charles comes out and he is old man Barkley now, and he is challenging Luke Walton's Golden State Warriors.
Yes, he is. Right. Luke Walton / Steve Kerr, who I think Steve Kerr was on that 95-96 teams. But you're right. It is Luke Walton's team because Steve Kerr's been out all season, which that's got to be frustrating. You're the head coach and your assistant coach is putting together the best start in NBA history, that's got to kind of wear on your psyche.
Well, I would have to know more about Charles Barkley, and that's kind of where I fall short as a personality on the radio. Because I haven't read his. Does he say Jurassic World is better than Jurassic Park? Does he say it's not? I don't know. I'm not there with him. I don't get his opinion on Star Wars. But if he's just saying it for the attention, and if he's just saying that Tony Kukoc is a better number 3 than Klay Thompson, well, yeah, I might argue that. But if he's saying putting those teams against each other in their prime, just like they did in that Rocky movie,
yeah, then yeah, I would watch that game. It might be the highest rated game on the NBA history. I cannot tell you who's going to win, though. I have no idea, man. Like, the Bulls were good. In 96, when I was in 6th grade, and I had that Luke Longley jersey because that's who I best identified with, I thought they were unstoppable. But I was in 6th grade. I was an idiot. It was right next to your Rick Smits jersey.
Oh, man, loved Rick Smits.
Detlef Schrempf, both his Pacers and his Supersonics jersey.
Oh, hey, man. When the Sonics got that new jersey in 96, the one with the Space Needle on it, and no, I had that starter jacket. No.
I think Detlef Schrempf in NBA Jam, he's on both the Pacers and the Supersonics. But to be fair to Charles Barkley, he was asked a question and he answered it. But to me, arguments like these are pointless because, like you said, Fred, you're not going to travel back to 1996 and have these two players face off against each other in their prime. The closest we can get is if EA Sports puts out an NBA game where they have vintage teams and you could simulate a best of 7 series. But plus it's very early in the season. I don't think that if you're going to have a pointless historical hypothetical argument, you should at least wait to see if one of the two teams goes on to win the title.
Well, and you know what we didn't consider that kind of makes us look foolish? When Charles Barkley goes to sit down at the NBA Finals this year, that he'll be a part of the broadcast crew, he's going to sit down with Shaquille O'Neal and Scottie Pippen and Akeem Olajuwon and all these guys from his generation, and he'll have to, like, face them if he were to say this Golden State Warriors would absolutely mop the floor with any of those teams. And that's kind of a tough situation. So maybe he's just going to bat for his boys, man. Maybe this is basic squad stuff.
He'd also be the only guy on that panel who never won an NBA championship.
Dang.
Sorry, Charles. I love Charles Barkley.
Oh, so that's actually what it is. It's his jealousy of Steve Kerr that puts the 96 Bulls over.
Could be, because Steve Kerr won titles as a player and as a coach. And Charles Fred, you and I have as many NBA championships as Charles Barkley.
I'm literally taller than he is. That's a fact. I'm literally bigger than he is.
And I'm fatter. So ergo together, the both of us are superior to one Sir Charles Barkley. Fred, let's hit a quick break because I want to come back and wrap the show up with something that I know you're very passionate about. So we're going to hit the break about a minute early. We'll be back. It's the Weigh-In, 590 KFNS, TalkSTL.com, and WeighInRadio.com. I hope I didn't cut you off there, but I decided we give ourselves like 11 minutes to talk about the Star Wars stuff and anything else. Maybe we'll go into your Christmas shopping thing.
You give me 2 seconds. I'm getting the thing ready here.
Okay. It's been a good show, I think.
Yeah, I agree completely. Let me test something real quick. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, that worked.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Nothing. Everything's good.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you're bringing this one back, right?
Yeah, I'll bring it back.
Okay, and we will go 11 minutes with this. So at 10 minutes, I'll start the music. All right, let's see. Here we go. Here we go.
Now, back to the Weigh-In.
These guys are like bad stand-up comics that you can't heckle.
WeighInRadio.com.
Yeah, this is a little dookie for you there, Freddie.
I heard you cry loud.
Love this tune.
Hey, it's actually the wrong tune to come back to, though, Mike. It's actually
What is that?
that's not the right bed music.
Really? Ha! There it is.
I just love it. I just love everything about it.
And Fred, we didn't want to talk about this last week because it was only a couple days after it came out. And although I'm not a big fan of people saying no spoilers, like the whole world has to rearrange their whole lives because they hadn't watched the latest episode of Breaking Bad or The Walking Dead. When it comes to a movie, I'll give a little bit more leeway. So last week we were being courteous. We didn't want to give away any spoilers, but now that it's been a week and a half, and I think everyone who's going to see it at least once has seen it. How many times have you seen the new Star Wars movie?
Well, I like most Americans, am not the weirdest person you've ever met, so I've only seen it one time.
Wow.
But I did see it during working hours. I left my day job to go see it because I wanted to avoid the chaos, the crowd, the nonsense. I'm not sure what I wanted to avoid, but the theater was only about 3/4 way full at 2:00 on Friday.
Yeah, you don't want to. You don't want your view blocked by like a giant
Wookiee.
Yeah, Wookiee or Kylo Ren mask or a big lightsaber.
I did my absolute best for the 2 months prior to the Star Wars Force Awakens to read nothing, to not even, I didn't look at the IMDb. I didn't want to know what actors were doing what. I was as off the grid as you could possibly be going into this Star Wars movie.
And I got to say, Fred, I don't know if it was my friends list because, it's no secret that I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan on earth. But, I would say about 95% of the people I know like Star Wars, and a big contingent of that are people who are what you would consider, quote unquote, Star Wars nerds. And I did not see a whole lot of people posting spoilers. I actually saw more people posting about not posting spoilers than I've seen actual spoilers.
I didn't see any, but I didn't give myself a chance. So I saw it the day after it came out. So there was only about, 16 hours there where I had to avoid stuff. But I haven't seen people like screaming spoiler alert. I haven't seen that. With that said, I'm going to spoil it right now for everyone.
Okay, so let's give people, this is the end of the show, okay? Yeah. So we're about to do spoilers. 5 seconds, 5 seconds, and, tune back in at 9 a.m. For more fine programming on 590 KFNS. If you haven't seen the movie. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
At the end of the movie, Mike, I left very satisfied. I thought it was great. It was the best movie I'd ever seen in my whole life. I loved everything about it. I just talked so much crap on nostalgia, but this movie wouldn't have worked without it. I am the target audience, and the movie itself was not that great, but what it did to me emotionally was tremendous. I just love it. I love it more than my wife. I love it more than all things combined on Earth. So that's it. That's where I stand. Spoiler alert.
Well, and I do have to. No, well, I mean, it would be if if the hook was how you felt about it and not actually what happened in the movie. And maybe we won't spoil it. We just drove away half our audience for nothing. But who cares? I'm drunk. It's the Sunday between Christmas and New Year's. I'm buzzed, so I don't even remember most of the show. But I gotta say, the day Star Wars came out, I was a little bit jealous of Star Wars fans because I cannot think of anything I would get that excited about. And I mean, you even go back to the people who will sit there and watch the first 6 episodes of Star Wars back to back to back. And I think of my 6 favorite movies, and I wouldn't even want to sit and watch those back to back to back. So really what you have is you have these people who love and are very passionate about something. They have to wait for years and years and years for it to happen. And along the way, there were some disappointments with some of the earlier episodes. And now is the big night. And now everyone's saying that this is the Star Wars that redeems all the prequels. You got J.J. Abrams doing it, who's a big Star Wars fan. And, I mean, the anticipation level is at 99. The only other thing that I think would be as rapturous is soccer hooligans when they riot out of happiness and not anger. I would love to feel that one day, but I just can't think of anything I'm as passionate about as some people are about Star Wars.
I'm going to steal from professional wrestling, as I often do. In wrestling, and I talk about this all the time because I'm a big mark. I'm a big mark for professional wrestling. And 8 months, 9 months out of the year, professional wrestling is kind of a grind, man. It's not great. There's a doldrum to it. You just you can go with or without it, and it hurts. But one time a year, you get a swerve, and you get a swerve so big in the storyline that you forget that it's a story, right? Like it becomes real life to you. It becomes like an embrace that you have, and that is the same thing, in my opinion, here with Star Wars. Whenever I was at Survivor Series and I saw Sting debut in the WWF, that for me was one of the most exciting moments I've ever had. And I've been to World Series games, man. I went to Pac-12 school. I've been to big football games, but seeing that was that moment for me. And I'm just pumped that people are able to, and especially people with families, take their kids and take their loved ones to enjoy this experience because, and now with Star Wars, I mean, Disney has the IP, so next year we'll get another Star Wars movie, and it'll probably go on for the next 10 or 15 years or whatever. But the first one, this one's the one, and I just thought it was great. The whole experience, I don't know, it was positive, man. Just this is the kind of thing you want around this time of year, so I loved it.
Yeah, and I got to say, Fred, you know how to me the A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back were a grind for me to watch. I didn't love this movie, but I felt like I was at least interested for the whole movie. And a lot of people say that it's the exact same plot as A New Hope, and some people actually like that about it because it's the same. It's a similar plot to A New Hope, but you get updated on a lot of characters and stuff. And to me, the quote unquote twist at the end was shocking to me. But that's just because I haven't seen the other movies in the series where what happens at the end it happens in almost every movie. But to me, all my other Star Wars friends saw it coming. I don't know if it's because they know how things like this go. If they read a spoiler, but they weren't surprised, but I was actually surprised.
Well, and the thing that happened had been hinted to 20 years ago in the original series. It had been discussed publicly how that maybe would have been best for the series. So whenever that thing finally did happen, some 35 years later or whatever, then it works, right? Because then it's here's the payoff that we've literally been waiting a quarter or half of our lifetime for.
Wow. That's morbid. If that's the payoff that fans have been waiting for, that's morbid, man. Yeah, I don't. Maybe I don't want to be part of the community. I do have to say though, who was the female lead? What was her name?
The actress or the character?
The character.
Rey.
Okay, even though Rey was like sweaty, like a sweaty mess with terrible hair, all movie. I still say that in the hotness, she's an upgrade over even a young Princess Leia. I don't know. Was Princess Leia hot when the movies came out? I guess maybe that the slave costume or whatever, but I never found her particularly attractive.
Well, we're getting into the lexicon again, though, Mike. So be real careful here, because the Princess Leia slave costume, that's forever now. That's never going away. Whenever Rey was wearing her rags or whatever, that's nothing. And even on a lesser scale, in the remakes, and the prequels, Amidala, who was played by Natalie Portman, she's got that white thing that everyone, like, people are into that too. So, I mean, Rey's going to have to kind of like find her look, and she doesn't have that yet. But I don't think it's super important. Princess Leia didn't get the slave thing till like the third movie. Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley is that girl's name.
Yeah, you saw her kind of made up in that Jimmy Kimmel, or not Jimmy Kimmel, that Jimmy Fallon, they sang the theme a cappella in the style of the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, she's very attractive, which, I got to say, Fred, I have respect for actresses who downplay their attractiveness for the role. Maybe that sounds chauvinistic of me, but
I call that the Liv Schreiber kind of syndrome, like where you're so good looking, but you don't ever reference it,
Right. Well, and I mean, the thing is, this role didn't really call for her to be, a cute British chick. She was a sweaty, rough, was it scavenger they called her?
Well, I don't know. She's kind of caught a bad rap because she like excels at every single thing she attempts in the movie, which is not like the best writing in the world.
Right.
But yeah, good little film, good for good for families and stuff, good for friends. The last thing I kind of want to point out, Star Wars really went to the HBO well to get actors here, which I'm a big fan of kind of a lot of HBO series, and they got guys and gals from Game of Thrones and Girls and a bunch of different spots. So I mean, you got a lot of young faces on here that have a chance to be part of the franchise for a long time. So there you go. There's my Star Wars input.
Yeah, the guy from Girls plays Kylo Ren, and he kind of looked like a wiener when he took his helmet off. And of course, Twitter has run with that, with the emo Kylo Ren Twitter feed. So we got to go, Fred. Happy New Year, everyone. We'll be back. I'm not going to make the dad joke. See you next year. Just say see you next weigh in 590 KFNS, TalkSTL.com, WeighInRadio.com. The only thing I wish with this soundboard I have is it doesn't tell you how long you have left. So, but no, like if I knew how much time we'd have left, I would know how much time we can take to wrap the show up.
I need to make sure these audio things worked right.
Okay, I hope they did.
The Star Wars one, I think, blew out the fucking thing. So
yeah. So does that mean we lost that last segment?
No. I got to fix that Star Wars part.
Oh, okay.
Which I got to find. I think it was right here. Let's see. I as far as gun owner, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
I am terrible at identifying wavelength shit. So wrestling is kind of a nope. This is it. Found it.
There it is.
God, I just love it. I just love everything about it.
That sounded good to me.
Yeah, that's not bad. I thought it was worse than that.
I heard myself there, though.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, it's because I still have your track on here. I have to take it off.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Richard Sherman's a guy who... Nope. What else did I play earlier that was shitty?
The PSA.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Was that a second? I play the fuck out of Risk. Oh. Don't think I don't put that on here.
Yeah, that was off the air.
You, but like me and my boss have a my boss is also like my best friend, right? Me and my boss welcome back to the Weigh-In 590 KFNS WeighInRadio.com. I of course am Fred Slow. Anyways, we have a Risk app.
Yeah,
we play this app kind of a lot, like at work.
Yeah, that's cool.
Truth behind this situation was I was bringing back my next question. Kevin Arnold's on again, off again. She's like all right, what is going on here? What do we talk about for so long? I'm going to get more Periscope followers than Dan. How's that a New Year's resolution?
I don't know.
Okay, because you don't want to get it. I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying, you want to change people's minds. You want to change people's minds. Have you heard this at all, Mike?
No, I saw it.
Here it is.
But then I
Here's
didn't click on it because I've got my mind made separately, but I
heard
that
involving a 3-year-old girl.
So you'll be able to get that rid of me there, right?
Yeah. And I would screw it up on the first attempt. It wasn't even screwed up. I'm such an idiot. Fuck.
That's all right. So the stuff's there. I mean, if the stuff's there, that's real easy.
Yeah, just like I said, I'm so dumb.
Those like me who didn't click on the link. I actually sound better on your end than you do on my end.
I don't know, man. Every time. All right, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to grab this and put it here.
Okay.
All right, I got a plan. All right, I'll get this over to you pretty quick.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're about to leave to go to Chelsea's grandparents, so I won't even get into it till later tonight. So
let me see if this worked. Hold on.
Who should?
Classic me.
I heard about a shooting involving a 3-year-old girl over the summer. My daughter.
That sounds good.
There was a point when I felt that I was going to die.
I stopped it because I think it wasn't working.
Always say a bullet didn't have a name on it.
Okay.
Someone put a bullet in the back of my 14-year-old son's head.
The gun should never be an option.
We're Americans. We don't have to live like this. We can all make a difference.
In the United States.
All right, so do me a favor.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to.
I heard about a shooting.
I don't want to edit anything out because it'll screw up the timing.
Yeah.
But at around 27 minutes 8 seconds. If you want, I would suggest after you smash it all together, cut out the part where I start it and then correct myself and start it again.
Okay. I mean, like I said, stuff like that doesn't bother me because it makes it sound live. But if you want me to, I can.
Well, I don't know. You call it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm actually a big fan of bloopers and reacting to them.
Okay.
Like I said, I mean, stuff like that does not bother me at all because it didn't derail the conversation. We had a laugh about it, then we moved on.
I'm rendering that right now. Cool. Oh, we're still live. Cool.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me stop that.